Alright, so if you're watching this episode from anywhere else but the Americas, you might as well tune out now, listen to some Enya or something, because this bike is not for you. Or at least that's the impression I'm getting from BMW.
Who can say where the road goes?
In the first 2 sentences of their press release, they mention America 4 times. The big boxer as the Grand American Tourer for luxurious traveling, and as bagger for cool American highway cruising. Why can't it be cool Romanian highway cruising? I mean, we have highways here, multiple highways, a whole 2 of them. Welcome back to Long Way Home, everyone. The place where getting your motorcycle news is easier than saying heated seat, but not by much. BMW has just unveiled 2 more bikes in their R18 lineup, a bagger version, cleverly named the R18B, and a fully dressed long-distance mile-munching tourer, the R18 Transcontinental. BMW will bring both models live in person at this year's Sturgis, which starts in a couple of days. So if this is something that interests you and you want to find out more, stick around. At their core, both of these bikes are still the original R18, but with a bunch of creature comforts designed to keep you in the saddle a lot longer. The engine is still the massive 1.8 liters, BMW's largest boxer engine to date. It puts out just 91 horsepower, but a huge 158 Newton meters of torque, most of that available from just 2000 RPMs. Meaning that changing gears is not really a requirement on the R18. I'm sure you could pull off in third if you wanted to. One important thing they did change on the new R18s compared to the previous 2 is the rear suspension travel, and that was one of my biggest gripes with the first edition. You now get 120mm rear travel instead of the 90mm on the old one. That's 4.7 inches instead of 3.5, and this makes me very happy because I did bottom it out on a few occasions with the first edition and it was not a pleasant experience. Fuel tank for both the bagger and the Transcontinental is now 50% larger at 24 liters or 6.3 gallons, so expect around 200 miles or 320 kilometers between fuel stops. Up front is where all the major changes have happened. Both bikes come with a giant handlebar-mounted fairing for good wind protection. The Transcontinental, however, has a taller windshield, a set of wind deflectors, and a pair of vents that you can open up to get some airflow if you're getting hot, and that is always appreciated. The instrument cluster, which is where you will be spending most of your time looking when you're riding, I think is where BMW has really outdone themselves. They've added the large 10-inch TFT display first seen on the 1250 RT, and that is by far my most favorite instrument panel, but they didn't stop there. On top are 4 analog dials, which they could have completely done without, but I think it's great to see this marriage between technology and old school analog. There's a proper fuel gauge, a speedometer, a rev counter, and the new toy which tells you from 0 to 100 what percentage of its power the engine is currently producing. Absolutely useless info for day-to-day riding, but for some reason I'm very glad that it's there. Cruise control comes as standard on both models. That's BMW's dynamic cruise control, which means the bike will apply its brakes if you're going downhill, for example, and it starts speeding up, or you can go for the optional radar cruise control that was introduced on the RT, which in my opinion is worth every cent since I loved the way it's been implemented. Riding modes, again, standard for both models: rain, rock and roll, cornering ABS, traction control, all the standard rider aids to keep your wheels down. BMW has worked together with Marshall, yes, the guys making the guitar amps you've seen in every movie ever, which now also make speakers, to come up with the audio system for the new cruisers. If you spec it up to max, you can get up to 280 watts of power, 4 speakers and 2 subwoofers. Can't wait to hear what this sounds like, so make sure you subscribe to catch that review. The Transcontinental comes with a 48-liter top box, which is large enough for 2 full-faced helmets, is also vibration damped, so you could carry your eggs in there without any fear of them breaking, and both bikes come with 27-liter side cases, which, thank the gods, open from the top and not from the sides. I think side opening cases on motorcycles are an April Fool's joke that really got out of hand, and they should be killed with fire. That's it. The Transcontinental also comes with a larger seat that is also heated as standard, and footboards, while the Bagger has the more standard foot pegs, which, fun fact here, are larger than the ones on the first edition R18, and the Bagger seat is also slimmer. Price-wise, you're looking at $22,000 for the Bagger and $25,000 for the fully dressed Transcontinental. By no means an inexpensive motorcycle, but you actually do get a lot of tech as standard on both of them. The only thing I think you really need to add, and this really shouldn't be negotiable, is that reverse gear on both, because these things are massive. 427 kilograms or 940 pounds for the Transcontinental, and almost 400 kilograms or 880 pounds for the Bagger. Big boys, that's for sure. Alright, comments time. This is now BMW's big entry into the large cruiser market in the States. Do you think it's gonna work out for them? As an American, is this something you would consider buying, or are you gonna stick to whatever is being offered in the local cruiser market right now? Probably a Harley or an Indian. And I know what you're gonna complain about. I read your comments. Forward foot controls. Never gonna happen on the R18. But BMW did manage to sort of meet you halfway and put some highway pegs over those large cylinders. So drop down to the comments and let us know if you think this will be a success for the Bavarians in the US. Well, that's the show for today, everyone. If you've enjoyed it, give it a big thumbs up. And if you think you've learned something new, consider subscribing or becoming one of our Patreons to help us make more of these shows. Cheers, and I'll see you on the next one.